strong like her thighs. She's pretty, look into her eyes. They tell 1,000 stories of the past. Some of the memories you wish you didn't have. She's brave like her mind. She's a woman, feminine.
Hi everybody. I hope everybody is doing well, and I hope everybody is having a blessed day. Have you ever noticed how your body feels different when you spend time in nature? Perhaps you walk through a forest, and without consciously trying, your breathing becomes slower. You sit beside the ocean and feel your mind becoming quieter. You listen to rain falling against a window, and something inside you seems to settle. What if part of this experience has to do with rhythm? Our bodies are not static systems. They are consistently moving, communicating, pausing, and adapt. Our heart beat, our lungs expand and contract, our muscles respond to signals, and at the microscopic level, our cells are continuously carrying out thousands of processes. So today we are exploring an intriguing concept: cellular resonance. The idea that our internal rhythms can interact with the rhythms and sensory patterns. Cellular resonance, the idea that our internal rhythms can interact with the rhythms and sensory patterns of the natural world. But there's an important distinction. The idea that nature can influence how we feel and regulate our nervous system has a reasonable scientific basis. So rather than treating resonance as magic, let's explore it as a fascinating meeting point between biology, physics, perception, and our relationship with nature. Your body is already rhythmic. Think about your body for a moment. You don't have to consciously control every breath. You don't have to instruct your digestive system when to begin its next movement. Life contains rhythms. Some rhythms are incredibly fast. Others are slow. Some change from moment to moment. Others follow daily or seasonal patterns. One of the most obvious examples is your heartbeat. Another is respiration. And then there is circadian rhythm, the approximately 24 hours biological cycle that helps coordinate sleep, wakefulness, hormone production, body temperature, and other processes. Your body is therefore not simply a collection of isolated parts. It is an reconnected network of biological rhythms. And those rhythms are consistently responding to the environment around you. Light influences our biological clocks. Temperature influences physiology. Physical activity changes heart rate and breathing. Sound affects attention and emotional states. And social interaction can influence our nervous system. In other words, your environment is not separated from your biology. Your body is continually exchanging information with the world around it. What does resonance actually mean? In physics, resonance has a specific meaning. When a system is exposed to a periodic force near one of its natural frequencies, the response can become particularly strong. Imagine pushing a swing. If you push randomly, the movement may remain small. But if your pushes are timed with the swing's natural motion, the amplitude can increase. This resonance, but the human body is far more complicated than a swing. We shouldn't assume that because something has a frequency, our cells will automatically resonate with it in a simple or predictable way. Instead, it's more useful to think about rhythmic interaction. The environment provides changing patterns of light, sound, movement, temperature, and sensory information. Our nervous system detects these patterns. Our brain interprets them, and our bodies respond. Why nature can feel so regulating? Consider walking through a forest. There is no consistent stream of traffic, no notifications, no flashing screens, no endless demands for your attentions. Instead, you might hear leaves moving in the wind, birds calling at different distances, water flowing over stones, your footsteps touching the ground, light moving between branches. These sensory patterns can provide a very different environment from the highly stimulating spaces many of us experience every day. For some people, this can feel deeply restorative. And there is a growing body of research investigating how exposure to a natural environment relates to stress, mood, attention, and psychological measures. This doesn't mean that nature is a magical frequency treatment. It means that the nervous system is sensitive to context. Change the environment, and you can change the information your brain and body are processing. The rhythm of breathing. Now let's bring the concept closer to home. Your breath is one of the most accessible rhythms you can influence voluntarily. When you are stressed, your breathing may become faster or more irregular. When you become calm, breathing often becomes slower and more relaxed. And because breathing interacts with the autonomic nervous system, deliberately slowing and gently regulating your breathing can influence how you feel. This gives us a fascinating bridge between environment and biology. Imagine sitting beside a quiet lake. You hear water moving. You watch the surface rise and fall. And you allow your own breathing to become slower and comfortable. There is no need to imagine that your cells are receiving a mystical frequency. Something much simpler may be happening. Your senses are receiving calming information. Your attention is shifting. Your breathing is changing. And your nervous system is responding. Sound is another powerful part of the natural environment. The rhythm of rainfall, the repetition of the ocean waves, the sound of wind moving through trees. These sounds contain patterns, and the brain is exceptionally good at detecting patterns. Natural sounds may also provide what psychologists sometimes describe as a less demanding auditory environment than unpredictable, highly intrusive noise. Think about the difference between a car horn, an alarm, a notification, a construction site, and the steady sound of rain. They're all sounds, but they do not demand the same kind of attention. This is one reason natural soundscapes can feel soothing, not necessarily because they contain a magical frequency that reprograms our cells, but because our brain responds differently to different sensory patterns. Perhaps one of the most important environmental rhythms is light. Every morning, sunlight enters your environment. Your eyes detect changes in light, intensity, and color. Those signals help your biological clock understand where you are within the day, night, cycles. This is one reason exposure to natural daylight, particularly earlier in the day, can be relevant to healthy circadian timing. And then, as evening arrives, the environment changes again. The sky becomes darker. Artificial lights becomes more. In modern life, we can easily lose contact with these natural transitions. We can remain under bright artificial lighting long after sunset. We can stare at screens late into the night. We can wake up without seeing daylight. Our biology, however, still operates according to rhythms. The natural world reminds us of something our modern environment can sometimes obscure. We are biological organisms living inside cycles of light and darkness, from nature to the cellular level. Now we can return to the phrase cellular resonance. Every cell contains extraordinary complex molecular machinery. Cells communicate, they respond to chemicals, signals. They change the activity depending on their surroundings. They generate and use energy. They maintain internal conditions, and they are influenced by signals from the nervous, endocrine, and immune system. But this is where we need to be careful. It would be misleading to say that standing beside a tree causes your cell to synchronize and particular tree frequency. That claim goes beyond what established science currently demonstrates. More scientifically grounded perspective is that environmental experiences can influence the nervous system, hormones, behavior, sleep, stress, and other psychological processes. And these systems ultimately affect cellular activity. So perhaps the most useful meaning of cellular resonance is metaphorical. Our internal biological is consistently responding to the rhythms of the world around us. What happens when we intentionally reconnect with natural rhythms? We might wake with morning light, spend time outdoors, walk rather than consistently rush, listen to natural sounds, take slow, comfortable breaths, eat and sleep according to consistent routines, allow periods of quiet, and give our attention a break from continuous digital stimulation. None of these practices require supernatural explanations. They simply give the body and mind opportunities to interact with a more natural sensory environment. And perhaps that is the deeper lesson. We don't necessarily need to raise our vibration. We may simply need to reduce the amount of noise competing for our attention. A simple resonance practice. Let's try something together. If you're somewhere safe and comfortable, close your eyes or simply soften your gaze. Take a slow breath in and gently breathe out. Don't force the breath, just allow it to become comfortable. And now, notice the sounds around you. Maybe there's a wind, maybe rain, maybe distant traffic, maybe complete silence. Don't try to change anything, just listen. Notice the temperature against your skin. Notice the weight of your body. Notice your heartbeat. Notice your breathing. And now imagine that you are not separate from your environment. You are an organism within an ecosystem. Your body is exchanging heat with your air. Lungs are exchanging gases with the atmosphere. Your eyes are responding to the light. Your ears are receiving sound. Your nervous system is continuously gathering information from the world. You are already in a relationship with nature. You don't have to create that connection. You simply have to notice it. Take another slow breath and allow yourself to be present. The language of frequency and vibration can be beautiful. It gives us a way to describe experiences that can sometimes be difficult to put into words. But beauty doesn't require us to abandon scientific thinking. We can appreciate the mystery while remaining curious about what has actually been demonstrated. Nature doesn't need to be described as a mystical energy field for its effects on human experience to be meaningful. The morning sun is powerful. The sound of rain can be soothing. A walk through trees can change the way we feel. A deep breath can shift our attention. Sleep matters. Movement matters. Quiet matters. And environment matters. Perhaps cellular resonance is ultimately a poetic way of describing something very real. The continuous conversations between our biology and the world we inhabit. The next time you step outside, don't just look at nature, listen to it, feel it, notice it, its rhythms, notice your own, the movement of your breath, the beating of your heart, the changing light, the movement of clouds, the sound of wind, the rhythm of waves. You don't need to force yourself into harmony. You are already part of the natural world. Perhaps the practice is simply learning to listen again. Your body has rhythm, nature has rhythm, and between the two is a fascinating space where biology, perception, environment, and experience meet. That is the deeper meaning of cellular resonance. is not a promise of miraculous healings, but an invitation to connect with your breath, with you, your body, with your surroundings, and with the living rhythms of the earth. Take one final breath. Slow breath in and gently breathe out. Then, when you're ready, open your eyes. If this video helped you slow down and reconnect with yourself, consider subscribing and join us for the next exploration into the relationship between consciousness, biology, and the natural world. Until next time, and remember, stay curious, stay grounded, and keep listening to the rhythms around you. I hope this helps you, and I love you all. Goodbye.